Hello, New Rochelle, and welcome to another edition of What Matters Most. We are taping at Trinity Elementary School, where everything you do matters. We have a special guest in studio, but before we get to them, first, some good news. Congratulations to our junior varsity and varsity cheerleading teams on their recent wins at the Garden State Challenge. Both divisions took home first place in both their game day and traditional divisions. We have some fun facts, and this is geared, the first one, to our special guest. Did you know that the UCLA, home of the Bruins, is the #1 most applied to college with nearly 139,000 applications yearly? And did you know it takes a sloth 2 to 4 weeks to digest their food? They actually have the slowest metabolic system of any mammal. And did you know that Alaska is the state with the longest coastline? I thought it was Maine, maybe even Florida, but no, it's on the west. It's Alaska. Now to our special guest. I bet you knew about UCLA. We have our head of guidance, Miss Leah Ligovina Freitas. Welcome. Did I do that okay?
You did, beautiful.
All right.
Thank you.
Anyway, it's so wonderful to have you here, and it's great to have you as the head of our guidance team. And you know, you're relatively new to New Rochelle. You just started this summer. So, you know, tell us a little bit about how it's going, but you know, also a little bit about your background. You know, how'd you get into education, and particularly as a guidance counselor, and you know, a little bit about where you grew up and what's been your inspiration to get into this work?
Sure. My first inspiration was studying at Queens College. I'm a City University graduate, proud public school graduate, and I had an awesome opportunity to be part of the academic advising program. And I was able to actually counsel students, undergraduate students, my peers in you know, finding success in college. I kind of felt like an imposter at the time because I was going through the process as well. But that's really where my passion came. Like, I really love that connection with students. So I started my career in the South Bronx and then made my way to Long Island. So I've been working on Long Island previous to New Rochelle for the past 20-something years.
Wow.
Was a school counselor for about 15 years. And then I had a supervisor who said, you know, Leah, I think you'd be great in a leadership position. She saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and I thought she was crazy. But I went for it because she had that vision for me, which is what we do as school counselors, is we hold a vision for our students and often see things in them that they can't see in themselves. So that happens to us as adults. So I ended up in administration, and here I am.
Right. Well, we saw that bright light too.
Thank you.
And we're really glad that you're here in New Rochelle. So, you know, you're at the high school, but you also have responsibilities at our middle schools and our elementary schools. And I know that's something that's been important to you. So, you know, talk about, you know, your work at our other schools. In fact, we're in an elementary school today.
Yeah, we have 4 amazing elementary school counselors who are relatively new to our district and really building that program at the elementary school level. So that was one of the things that drew me to New Rochelle, that because a lot of schools still do not have elementary school counselors, so it's a relatively new program. And we still have our New York State mandates that we have to follow, even at the pre-K to grade 6 or more K, but we have a pre-K program here. And so right now our elementary school counselors are really establishing themselves in their various schools and developing a really strong SEL program, which is obviously very much needed for our students. Using a Reframe platform. So they're pushing into classrooms, but they're also supporting the teachers in implementing SEL in their own curriculum. So they're doing amazing work. We do have a lot of room for growth there in terms of more of the college and career readiness at a developmental level, at that developmental level. So that is something that we are working on slowly and building our guidance plan at the elementary school level. And then our middle school counselors who do an amazing work, 2 very different schools with very different needs. So I'm in the learning process of figuring out what each school could benefit from and the growth opportunities there, particularly our Naviance program and getting our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders to consistently explore that program, which
is... Do you want to explain for our viewers what Naviance is?
So Naviance is a program that students can really use from grade 6 through grade 12. They build a portfolio along the way, which includes a lot of self-awareness. which is a lot of the work that school counselors should be motivating our students to do. So they can do career exploration, they can do college exploration, personality tests. So really learning about who they are and some possible areas that they may be interested in and finding passion for. So students can do that all throughout middle school and high school, which is, a wonderful way for them to really get to know themselves and what they're possibly going to be good at.
Right, right. And I know I was at Columbus recently, and they had their STREAM symposium for their second graders, and it was really exciting to hear some of these young students talk about wanting to be an engineer and about learning about how water flows and the importance of building structures that can withstand floods. It was really fascinating. So I think that exploration is really underway.
Yeah.
And the districts then at the high school, right, where again, when we think of counselors, we think oftentimes at the high school level. But talk a little bit about some of the things that you're trying to shift at the high school. And earlier, before we got on set, you were telling me about some of the things you do during passing periods, just to make connections with students. You want to share a little bit about the things you're working on with the high school team?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a really strong program to begin with. I think one of my goals as a director and being so new to the district is to really communicate more with our families. I don't think our families really know what's happening, what our guidance counselors, what our school counselors are doing on a daily basis. And their fundamental work is really the connection with their students. And our counselors are really, really passionate about having that time, that one-on-one time, that group setting time with our students. So one of my goals is to increase the communication with our parents and letting them know that. So for an example, we are starting the scheduling process with our students, K through 12, K through 11, our rising 12th graders. And I've developed a timeline. Counselors are going to be meeting with our current 9th graders starting February 1st on a group basis, developing their classes for next year, which is all about the career and college readiness piece, right? So helping our students, supporting them in choosing courses thoughtfully and relating that whatever they're choosing, what they're interested in learning more about relates to what they could possibly study later on. And then they're going to be meeting with their 10th graders and 11th graders individually. So that's going to be a real personalized process, I believe, for the first time. And then letting parents know that that's happening. Because if parents don't know, the assumption is,
it isn't happening.
It's not happening, or, I really don't know if my student even knows who their school counselor is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, really basic, but important. And so it's that relationship part. I know that we're in the process of building a graduate profile, which is very exciting. This will be the North Star for our school district and our community. What are the skills and the dispositions and the qualities that we want to see of a New Rochelle High School graduate, and then mapping back. So how do we make those checkpoints at 10th grade, 8th grade, 6th grade? This will also give more energy and for our counselors as they're beginning to help students really explore, right? Explore. Build their schedules, and schedules are larger than just classroom activities, right? It's the whole picture. It's what extracurricular activities, what clubs, what are you involved in student government? Are you playing athletics? And
developing the whole student.
That's right, developing the whole student, and those skills that you talked about, right at the elementary school level, building social and emotional learning skills. I mean, these are more tools that enable our students to access the full gamut of activities that a school offers, particularly also the academic side, right?
Absolutely. And our goal is really to provide those tools, and not only to our students but our families, so that the families are engaged in that. So we did a FAFSA workshop last week where the parents came in. They had to sign up ahead of time. We had 38 families sign up.
You want to explain what FAFSA is?
Yeah, so FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid, and part of our work in creating a college and career ready student is also creating knowledge or having financial literacy, right? Many of our students, we get our students to college, but then once they get there, they're really overwhelmed by the investment of it and how much it costs. So creating workshops and information sessions where they can really see the big picture and really know what it takes to be successful in college, which is to afford it as well when you're there.
Right.
But also how to navigate a college campus. You know, what are some of the cultural norms of a college campus? Where do I go for help? Those are all the things that I think we can do a much better job at the high school level. We're getting our students into college.
Right.
We're also very focused on our students graduating from high school, so we spend a lot of time there. But integrating also, you know, a piece where we know we can feel confident, okay, we're sending our students off and now they have the schools, the tools and the information needed to be successful at that level.
The ability to navigate, the ability to advocate for yourself, you know, and again, you talk about those self-awareness pieces and giving students more of a sense of who they are and, you know, what they're really good at, what they're passionate about, and where to go for help. Really important.
Yeah.
Most recently, you have a new addition to your team, a counselor that's going to be focusing on with our student athletes.
Yes.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that position and that individual? It's really exciting.
Sure. His name is Christopher Tuck. He will be starting January 30th. We are in the process of identifying students who have aspirations of playing athletics at the collegiate level, as young as 9th grade right now, and yeah, we're excited to have him. There's a real need at the high school level for students to have someone who can really guide them through that process, because it's a very, very unique process.
Yes.
I know my daughter played Division III sports in college. She played field hockey, and her college exploration and application process was very complicated and very different. So I just think having someone who specializes in that is really going to help our students succeed and find success of being scholar athletes, right? Not just athletes, because we have such talented people, but it has to transfer over to the academic piece as well.
That's right. It starts there as well as with the athletics. And this is a new position, first time ever in the district. And Mr. Tuck he's a New Rochelle resident, New Rochelle High School graduate, had a son actually playing Division I ball now. So we're so thrilled. So there's a lot that's coming, and I really appreciate it. It's so exciting to have you here.
Thank you. It's great being here.
New eyes, fresh ideas. You know, you want to have a final thought for our families. This is a real anxious time for our seniors. Our juniors are, you know, gearing up for this. But, you know, just a final word for all of our parents, our caregivers, our guardians, you know, who have, you know, children and that are really, you know, excited about the college process.
Yeah, no, I just want our families to have confidence in our department and confidence in our school counselors. They're really a bunch of caring people. We have a lot of them. There's 30 counselors district-wide, which is really unusual. So there's definitely a value placed on that position. And our counselors are really, you know, they're like the pillars of strength for our students. They're our go-to people. So we want our families to feel that confidence, and the communication is going to be forthcoming. So I think, you know, with that, people will say, wow, this is, you know, this is really happening there, and this is wonderful. So that's really what I'd like to leave with.
That's great. That's great. And we've had some really good news. You want to share a little bit of that? Our students are getting into some great colleges.
Yeah, no, we've had students get into some really high-profile colleges, Vanderbilt being one, Brown. We have a student who will be part of the crew team at Brown, which is wonderful. Yeah, Wesleyan, some really, really great schools. And then our wonderful, you know, foundational schools that we always go for is Siena, Marist, of course, Adelphi, Iona University. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention them.
No, I mean, look, our New Row graduates, you know, they go far and wide, and you know, we're really preparing our kids, and it's just great to know we're even working harder. So, anyways, Leah, thank you for all you and your diverse and talented and passionate team of guidance counselors are working hard. We'll have you back on the show again soon.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, take care. There we have it, New Rochelle. Another edition of What Matters Most. Can't wait to come back soon. We have some more special guests lined up, and of course, just wait for that great news and those fun facts. Have a great rest of your week, New Rochelle.